All right, we're getting ready for UFC 91. We're here at the MGM, a couple days away from the event. Big fight, Demian Maia, going up against Nate Quarry, one of the guys with the coolest nicknames in the sport, The Rock. How you doing?
Well, that's the easiest nickname to come up with. That's all I could think of.
Well, you know what? Nicknames they're kind of iffy sometimes. I like Alan Belcher, but really the talent, Jason McDonald too. The athlete. I mean, are you not an athlete?
I do my best. I try.
Well, let's get into a lot of the issues before this fight because you've had so many cool things go on. Cool might not be the greatest word for back surgery, but I want to get into that in a few minutes. But your last fight was against Kalib Starnes, and that had to be one of the most surreal nights in UFC history because it was odd. You tried to engage. You basically just chased the guy for 15 minutes, and the crowd flipped out.
Well, I just felt that going into that fight, my game plan was to make sure he was never able to inflict his game plan. And I felt that he really needed to be moving forward, feel forward momentum to get started on me. So the whole time with my corner was just moving forward, throwing combinations, nonstop moving forward. And that really kept him on his heels so he could never really get a chance to get off on me.
So at what point in the fight were you like, this guy is not going to engage? Now it's getting ridiculous. Yes, I'm winning the battle tactically, but now this is stupid.
Well, it had to be halfway through the third round because I can't really pay attention to the fight as it's happening. It just seemed to me that, oh my God, does anyone else notice this, that he doesn't seem to really be fighting? And that's when I started doing my Running Man impersonation and then did the patented rock hammer. And, you know, my goal there was just to make it a memorable fight for the fans, give them something to talk about because everybody wants to see the knockouts, everybody wants to see the wins, but they don't want to go away feeling cheated, thinking, you know, I paid to see a fight, I didn't pay to see two guys run around.
Right.
And so giving them something to talk about the next day and remember, I thought would give them their money's worth.
When you're in the cage and that's happening, do you sense what's happening? I mean, can you hear how loud it's getting and how displeased people are?
Well, I knew my own frustration with the fight, and I'd seen fights in the past where one fighter came to bang and the other one came to survive. And when those fighters, when one was just so timid and the other fighter got angry, then the crowd was angry and they left upset. They felt cheated. And so I didn't want to go down as being one of those guys remembered with a fight like that. And I always said I'd rather lose spectacularly, what am I trying to say? Lose in a spectacular fashion instead of winning a boring decision. So that's what I tried to do.
So after the fight, I mean, it turns out to be just a horrific fight. The crowd is displeased, and yet you, with some of the antics, you kind of turn the crowd in your favor, and especially since he's Canadian, they were very anti-American's a little strong, but they were very pro-Canadian. They were actually in love with you.
Well, I think that's just the nature of the sport. That's MMA, and that's the MMA fans out there is they want to see the fighter's heart. They want to see somebody just like the Rocky story. They want to see somebody going out there, whether it's a long shot or not, somebody that's going to try to their very last breath. And I've always said, you know, looking at my career, I will fight until my body will no longer allow me to continue. And so for me, that's what I wanted to show is I'm here to fight, I'm going to fight.
Now, after that fight, Kalib Starnes he got destroyed. He got blistered. He actually made his email kind of public. I mean, he said he got emails for, you know, basically he's fighting this weekend as well down in Hawaii, but he said he's taking emails. I mean, it's just been brutal. Do you actually feel sorry for him at all, or kind of one of those cases where, you know, you did it to yourself? Or do people just go over the top on this stuff? Because in a way, I think media, fans, sometimes we don't know what's going on in the cage. He did have a broken foot, he said, early in the second round. That's what he said. But did you start to feel bad for him after a while when you heard he was just getting destroyed?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. Sure, some of it comes with the fame, and you're fighting in front of millions of people, so you've chosen that arena, so you're going to get what you get. And then the other side of that is, too, is that, yeah, we are just human, and we go out there, and everybody has off nights, and everybody has on nights. And that's what's so public about it, is you have an off night. Now you've got millions of people seeing this, and they're not happy with you, and they think that they know you because they've seen you on TV, and that can be a very hard thing to deal with that pressure. And someone like Kalib, too, he just came out of the ranks of the Ultimate Fighter, started fighting, was doing well. You know, we weren't prepared for this. We weren't, you know, from 4 or 5 years old in some big team that was building up towards some big crescendo. We were just out there fighting and making it happen.
You ever get mad at fans when they're too harsh? Because I'm sure there were a lot of harsh people after the quick knockout against Franklin.
Well, they all go on the block list on the MySpace page. As soon as I get the one negative, you know, they're entitled to their opinion, but it's my life too, and I don't need to hear the negatives. And that's one of the hard things is if you have 9,999 people telling you, you know, how much they appreciate what you've done and what a great worker you are, that one person that says something negative just sticks in your mind. So I found it's much better just put those things aside and focus on the positive things.
All right, the other issue to get into, you're one of the guys who's made a miraculous comeback from a really serious injury, serious back surgery. We're going to get into the next guy who's going to be trying to make that comeback. You're what now? I think it was June of 2006 that you got the surgery, if I was reading correctly. So now we're a couple of years removed. I mean, any remnants of that? You're 1,000% healthy now. How do you feel?
Well, it was just incredible. The surgery was performed by Nuvasive, and their procedure is they just make a small incision on the side of your body, go up to the vertebrae, spread them out, scrape out what was left of my degenerated disc, and they basically slap a Lego in there, screw the two vertebrae together, let them grow together using artificial bone matter, and now instead of two busted up vertebrae, you've got one super vertebrae. So what for years for me was just constant pain and agony, and when those vertebrae hit together, you get a shock through your body that's just brutal. And now I've got them locked in position, they're strong, and now it's a strength for me, whereas before it had always been a weakness.
So the early fights, we mentioned Starnes, but even before that, the comeback fight against Cell, were you 100%? Did you feel then like you feel now?
Yes, my fight against Pete Cell, it had been, I think it was
15 or 16 months.
Yeah, something like that after my back surgery, and I knew about 6 months after my surgery I was good to go. I was sparring with Josh Haynes, who gets excited. He shoots a double, picks me up over his head, and drives his shoulder right into my abdominals, right in the surgery area at the same level of my vertebrae. Right. And time almost seemed to stand still for just a split second. I was, oh my God, how is this going to be? Am I going to be able to walk after this? Right. And I was able to stand up, and it was just fine. No effect whatsoever. And in that same round, I picked him up and slammed him with a double. So from then on, I was like, I'm good to go.
All right, the other guy to talk about, and I know you gave him some advice. We just saw a video, I think like 3 days ago. Tito Ortiz was talking about his future. He just got back surgery. Something similar, I guess, to what you got. That was about 4 weeks ago. Now, there's a timetable people have thrown out. Oh, Tito will be back in 6 to 8 months. You took 15 months to come back. I mean, could you have come back earlier? Has the surgery advanced? Is his different than yours? Will he be able to come back sooner?
Really tough to say. He had the same surgeries I did, although he had it in 2 levels. He had one slightly different for his L5S1, and then he did have the same X-lift procedure on another couple of his vertebrae. And so we'll see with his recovery time. For myself, I was just completely broke sitting at home eating chicken and rice. I didn't have the ability to get the fast healing, and he had told me he's taken his vitamins and minerals, and he's got the carrots and the juicer, and he's juicing every single day with those, and I see him making a quick recovery. The thing is, basically when you're fusing 2 vertebrae together, it's almost like you've got a broken bone. Right. And so for that to heal takes about 6 months or so. And that's in an area where you want to be very careful. Right. Because if your back is literally broken, you need to make sure it's healed, it's strong, it's good to go. It's not something you want to push early. So I'd recommend to him to take his time. Better to be safe than sorry.
Right. So best case might be 9 months to a year.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. This fight that you have on UFC 91, you're going against Demian Maia. I'll just tell you from the Vegas standpoint, Maia opened as a small favorite. Well, this is motivation.
No, it's not. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Okay. I won't tell you the odds. We'll say people like Maia.
He's a great guy.
I mean, as a fighter, too. It's a different challenge for you because they've matched you up against guys who have been strikers in the past for the most part, guys who weren't real slick on the ground. So strategy-wise, what do you come up with? Obviously, you don't want to go to the ground, I would think. Not that you're the clown on the ground, but that would have to be in the game plan, right? Try to make this into a stand-up fight.
Well, I think this is an exciting fight for the fans and for myself because he's undefeated in his career. He's one of the best in jiu-jitsu in the MMA game. So I think it's exciting for everyone. And yeah, I've been put with a lot of strikers, so I got hit in the head quite a bit. So it's nice to maybe not get hit in the head so much. So we'll just see how it goes.
It's interesting because I don't want to make a blanket statement about all the Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighters, but it seems like a lot of them who are the elite guys outside of Anderson Silva really are good on the ground, but some of them are a little limited with their hands. Strategy-wise, do you try to capitalize on something like that? Because so many of them have been untested. Because I just don't know that is their, unless they're training in Muay Thai for the most part, that's their strength. So,
well, I know that Damian's been training with Vanderlei Silva, so he's been working a lot on his Muay Thai, on his clinch game. You saw that work against Jason McDonald. He's got a good left high kick. I look to see him do all these things and try to get as much success as he has in his past fights.
All right, did you forget to remind me about something? And one.
Yeah.
He's got a new sponsor, which is pretty revolutionary. All these new people are coming into MMA, and you've got a sneaker company, a basketball sneaker company. I don't think you're wearing sneakers into the ring. You're not allowed to do that. But you can mention how that came together, because I know it was a connection with the Trailblazers and the hoops world.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Steve Blake, who plays for the Portland Trailblazers, introduced me to Rod there at And One. And for him, he was just so excited to be in the MMA world. And while a lot of people will say, how does a basketball shoe company play into this? Well, you don't really see people looking at NASCAR and saying, well, why is Home Depot and Lowe's sponsoring NASCAR? It's all advertising dollars. And so to me, it's made perfect sense. And it's just taken a while for the corporate world to catch up to it and say, okay, let's see, we've got 10 million people are going to watch this fight in our key demographic of males from 18 to 35. Let's see, should we buy a commercial during some TV show that everyone's TiVoing and going to fast forward through, or should we put a sticker right on Nate Quarry's ass so everybody says, oh, And One supports this fighter that I appreciate, now I'm going to go support And One.
That is a little shaky, though, that logic, because honestly, I won't be looking. That might see, to me, that's more of a chick demographic at that point. Now, I get your point, though, because in the poker world, for example, all these poker sites, you basically sponsor guys with shirts and hats, and then you've got years of extra advertising. Now, has And One come to you and said, we want to make this a stand-up fight? We don't want you on your back.
No. I fight my way, and we'll just see what happens.
All right. Now, Steve Blake, for people who don't know Steve Blake, Steve looks like he's about 6'2" and 122. I think even I'm ready to roll with Steve Blake. Now, he'd probably beat the crap out of me, but what is he like? Because he's training a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's rolled in jiu-jitsu with me a few times, and it was so funny. The first time that we rolled, it was like I was rolling with someone that had 6 or 7 months of experience.
Really?
Because he has the athleticism, and he has the balance, and he has what I call the tensile strength in his muscles, right. So he wasn't getting tired. So it was just incredible. Very difficult guy to sweep. Obviously, he didn't know any submissions, didn't know how much to get out of him, but just great body awareness.
So are you suggesting, Lesnar Couture winner against LeBron James?
Why not? It'd probably
come on now.
Isn't that what it's all about?
What do you think's going to happen in the main event?
We'll see. Randy's really got to enforce his game plan and just kind of wear out Brock and look to dirty box him.
Yeah. He can do it? He giving away 60 pounds, he can do it?
I'd never bet against Randy. He was the underdog so many times that I think, anything's possible.
All right, Nate. Good luck. Congrats on the comeback, and keep it going.
Cool. Thank you very much.